What up? What up? What up? Hello and welcome everyone to this 43rd episode of the Backward Skate Baseball Podcast. I am your host, Chris Hasbrock, and I am joined once again by my co-host, Scott Kaiser. Scott, my man, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on, bro? Another week of baseball in the books,
Yes,
and the
sir.
Braves just keep circling the drain.
Hey, there's one thing in life we got, it's consistency. So there's that.
Yes, consistently horrible as far as my team. But how about you? How are things going for you in baseball world?
I've been solely focused on the old college game, man. It's been just super regionals this past weekend, and it's unbelievable. College, like I said, it's college leading up to the College World Series this coming weekend. I can't wait, man.
Good stuff.
Cannot
Good
wait.
stuff. Well, we're going to talk some more about some college ball here in a little bit. Get to that. As I mentioned, the Braves continue to circle the drain. We will talk some more about that. Did the Orioles make the right decision by not splurging this offseason in free agency? We've discussed that before, but something got confirmed that we had feared on last week's episode. So we'll delve into that a little bit. And the big topic of today's show. We're going to update the week that was for Jackie Kaggs and talk about the call-up today, just hours before this show got started. The number one prospect in all of baseball, Roman Anthony, has been called up to the Red Sox. He is in Boston. They're playing right now as we speak. And his first official at bat, he flew out to right. But number one in prospect in all of baseball. Super exciting stuff. Been waiting all season for that. Finally happened there in Boston. Had a bit of log jam, but they were able to clear the way. So we will talk about that. Scott saying nice jersey. Enjoys your
Thank you.
Coastal Carolina thing there.
Oh yeah,
I like
go
that
Shants,
too.
baby. Teal Nation, go Shants.
Good stuff. Alrighty, Chris. So let's go on ahead and start out with your boy Jackie Kaggs. As we mentioned last week, he did get the call up, and then ended up starting on Tuesday. Has played since then. Struggled to start his 10 years in the bigs. He came into yesterday hitting just 0.95, but by the end of yesterday's game, his average was up to 240 after a 4-hit game. He becomes just the, let's see, where was the stat there? He is the, there it is. He joined Bo Jackson as just the second player in Royals history to tally a 4-hit outing within his first 6 big league games. So despite the slow start, looks like Kaggs is slowly starting to figure things out and has not gone yards yet, but has a ton of loud outs. My man is hitting all of the exit velocities that we expected him to hit, frequently knocking triple digits there. Is spraying it all around the field yet, hasn't gone yard yet, but Chris looking as advertised otherwise, man, and you got to be excited if you're a Royals fan because their offense has struggled. That's why they called him up. He and Salva yesterday combined to kind of get things going for them, and Royals fans got to be hoping that this is the beginning of a very good partnership with him and Witt and everybody else, all the other younger guys that they got in that offense ready to go.
I mean, this is the perfect situation for Royals fans. I mean, you've got a guy, like I said, who who has all the hype and everything like that, and has literally, I mean, he steamrolled his way through the minor leagues, and he crashed down that door, and he made it virtually impossible for Kansas City to not call him up. So it worked out perfect for them, and now hopefully he continues to. He continues to produce. I mean, like you said, he had the 4-hit game yesterday, now batting 240 on the season and 25 at bats, an OPS of 560, only 1 run driven in. But like you said, he's got a lot of loud outs, but he was coming close yesterday during that 4-hit game. He's inching closer to his first home run, and you can just see it. It's going to come here relatively quickly because he's seeing the ball really well. And, you get those jitters. It kind of reminded me a little bit when Gunnar Henderson was brought up, or not Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday last year when he was brought up, and then he struggled, and then they sent him back down to kind of just kind of reset and everything like that. So his struggles at the beginning kind of remind me a little bit of that, but I know what to expect from Cags. I mean, like I said, I've watched him for years, and this dude, man, I'm telling you, you know, he continues to get it figured out, then he's going to be a solid piece in the middle of that Royals lineup, and sandwiched around Salvi and like I said, Bobby Witt and everything like that. The Royals have a lot of excitement, to look forward to here. If Cags continues to keep it rolling.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Royals' sake, you hope that it does, but for Bobby Witt's sake too, he's kind of struggled this season. Numbers are down, mostly because they just won't pitch to him because he has no lineup protection. So they're able to pitch around him, and it's brought everything down. So hopefully, Caglione, who's been betting, 2 or 3 spots behind him in the lineup to start his early career, he gets things going. I'd imagine that they want to have those two back to back as soon as they possibly can. Feel comfortable that Caglione is able to handle major league pitching, but also be able to protect Bobby Witt because if the opposing team doesn't have to pitch to him, then Bobby Witt is virtually no good because they get around him and I feel like he's been forcing a lot over the past 2 months to start the season because I know I watched him play expanding the strike zone a lot more than usual, and just going after trying to make something happen. So hopefully this can like I said, slow things down on that front and get with some protections so that the Royals got. I would like to see the Royals, even though they've stayed pretty competitive so far throughout the season, if they can get that offense going. The pitching is done pretty well for them most of the year. They get that offense going. It would be fun to watch them make it a three horse race there in the Central a little bit, make things a little bit tighter with the Tigers and Cleveland. So,
well, they better because damn, they were my pick. Kind of need them. It's crazy though. I mean, if you look at the guys that they have, I mean, Jonathan India, once if he can get it rolling and pick it up a little bit, you got guys like Kyle Isbell, obviously Salvi, guys like that. It's just a matter of once these guys get it figured out. I mean, the potential's there for this offense to get absolutely rolling, and if that's the case, coupled with a solid pitching staff that they've got, I mean, there's a really good chance you're going to see them make a run in the second half. And who knows, if they add, at the trade deadline as well. And if they do, again, it makes for a fun second half of the season if these guys can get it going and make that, like you said, a 3-horse race in the Central, because that's exactly what, baseball fans want. You want solid races, as you're going down, the backstretch of this season, into that final, right in the final turn of it, so they've got the chance to do it.
Yeah, and Michael Garcia has quietly had a pretty good start to the season.
Yeah.
But again, not as much power, more of a station-to-station guy, a little bit of speed, whatever. But it would be nice to have that power bat in the middle of the lineup if Caglione can get that consistency, which, there's going to be ups and downs throughout the next few months, as a rookie. Same thing goes for any rookie. A lot of them, even if they do come out fast, we saw last month with Campbell there in Boston. He came out pretty quick and was playing pretty well for the first month, and then May hit the skids, and that adjustment period is in, and he'll be fine. He's just like any other rookie. They hit the wall, and the league adjusts to them, and they have to adjust to the league. So, Caglione has started off slow, but once he, finally clicks, he'll go through a phase there where it looks like he's, unstoppable and whatnot, and then the league will figure him out. So, just one of those things, but you hope that as time goes on, or, through the rest of this season, if he can keep those lows down for the majority of the way, they'll have a pretty solid offense forming around him.
Well, here's the thing. It's baseball, man. Baseball it's baseball, and that's just how it works. It's, these guys, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't, baseball does not discriminate. It'll take care of you and it'll humble you. And that's just how this game goes. I just think it's just a matter of these guys just riding out the tough spots and everything like that. And once they do, it's kind of
Scott pointing out that we both say all the time because
Thanks,
he
Scott.
never noticed, but I didn't either. But you
I
know
didn't
what,
either.
Scott? Now I do. So there you go.
I know, shit. That's gonna be in my head now. I'm gonna be like, all right, well, and now we're gonna be doing silent tallies, like 1, 2.
We'll break our way out of it one way or the other. But
We'll try.
moving things along, we also mentioned that the number one prospect in baseball, Anthony, is up in Boston. Roman Anthony, that is, and he again batting fifth tonight in his major league debut, starting in right field for the Red Sox. And this guy has been the talk of the town for at least the last year, if not year and a half, as far as his rise. And he's drafted 79th overall back in the 2022 draft. So not as quick of as an arrival as Caglione and some of these other guys within the last year, getting drafted and then getting right to the majors within a calendar year. But his ascent has been steady, and he's made it all the way up to the number one prospect. And for a little while, it has looked like Boston hasn't had the chance to get him into the lineup because they were healthy and the lineup was playing just well enough. But the outside noise from both Red Sox and baseball fans finally became enough. And on the heels of sweeping the Yankees this week in the series in New York, here comes Anthony to help the lineup even further. He was batting .288, 10 home runs and 29 RBIs down in AAA before this call-up. I have seen plenty of Roman Anthony highlights and followed what he's been doing for the last year, mostly because I have him on the fantasy baseball team, and so I've been highly anticipating this call-up. Chris, what do you know about Roman Anthony, and what can you say about him as far as what people can expect from him coming into the league? Is he worthy of this number one overall prospect moniker that he ended up with?
I'm gonna have to say, yeah, he's a quality player. I was just kind of looking over his scouting grades on MLB. Let's see, it was MLB.com. That it's got him listed. Obviously, like you said, he was basically a supplemental second rounder is kind of what it paid out for him. But his scouting grades basically on the Jesus, I'm losing my track of thought. My God, I told you before the show, man. I was like, I'm out of it today, man.
Woo. Well, it's it's also because is in your head, so it doesn't help that you got that.
That's
Reset.
a problem.
You're good. All
right.
So you were looking at his.
I'm going to call timeout here. Yeah, let's call timeout. Step out of the box. Get back into it. Woo, man. Okay, so looking on the based on the scouting scale, the 2080 scale, and his scouting grades for hitting is a 60, power of a 60, run of 50, arm of a 50. So that's relatively average. That's not relatively average. It is average for that. Fielding is a 50. So an overall is 65. So he's a higher tier prospect in terms of, he's not a full blown 80 or anything like that, which you never see. But Roman Anthony is a solid player. And I was looking back too, and I didn't realize this in the high school All-American game at Coors Field. He matched a 450-foot home run like 2 years ago. I mean, that's insane for a high schooler. He weighs in, he's 6'3" and weighs in at 200 pounds, only 21 years old. This kid's got the tools, man. And I think it's something that, if you look at his stats, he led, according to this here, he led the AA Eastern League in slugging at 489 and OPS at 856 as a 20-year-old last season. And then slashed 344, 463, and 519 with 16 extra base hits in 35 games following his promotion to AAA. So what does that mean? This dude has produced every level he's been at, which is why he made his way up to the number one ranked prospect in all of baseball. This guy, he can play, man. Like, he can flat out play. And it's something that, as a Red Sox fan, you're coming off of, like you said, Scott, the sweep of the New York Yankees. What more could you ask for? Then you bring up your top guy, the top guy overall in baseball, and just to have fun. And Roman Anthony is going to be that guy that we're going to be able to watch, sit back. And even though he's in Boston, it's kind of a situation where I don't know how much hype you're going to hear. It always seems like Boston with their prospects, they don't get the insane amount of hype, like the constant, like pushing of like any news of these guys. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I hope you do, because I'm trying to spit it out. And it's not coming out here like I'm hoping, but it's
like I think I know what you're trying to say, just in the fact that
they ride under
it sort of under the radar,
more.
only because it feels like they have so many. They churn them out a lot, for me at least. When it comes to Boston, they've had these big three, and I don't want to say that they've had a lot of guys that haven't overall panned out, but it feels like they've had enough guys that haven't quite hit the heights of that they hit. And so when some of the guys now, I think we're a little bit more reserved in holding some of these Boston prospects. It's the same thing like with the Yankees. The Yankees prospects will get hyped to an insane amount.
Yes.
And then a lot of times end up disappointing and they kind of fizzle out or whatever. And I think it's just, again, those teams get
comes with that hype of that team that comes along with. And I think that's what I was trying to it seems like these guys just fly under the radar more and you don't hear about them because they're not really coming out and doing what you would expect, from a number one prospect or something like that. I guess it's probably the best way to do it.
Scott's agreeing with you, saying that they don't get the hype on them. And like I said, I think
it
so happens that they have enough, and then for whatever reason, they haven't quite hit that. Because even if you think about Nomar, he was really good for a window of time.
Yeah.
But even their best prospects tend to flame out or never quite reach superstar level necessarily. So I think it's just a little bit that. Also, Scott pointing out, I was going to mention that part of the hype surrounding this weekend, when Chris talking about what he hit in the home run showcase on Saturday, he hit a grand slam, 497 feet, and that was pretty much, to me, the final the final curtain call as far as the minor leagues went, because when I got the notification, I said out loud, what else does he have to prove? What else is there to do in AAA? I think they did the corresponding move today was putting Wilyer Ibar on Wilyer Abreu on the IR.
Yeah.
I didn't see what injury it was. But I know that's been the talk, is that somebody would have to go down for this to happen. But I mean, again, between the fact that they haven't been world beaters on offense, and even though Ibar had a good start to the season, it's sometimes you just can't beat prospect hype. And again, Anthony had done so much to deserve the call up. I didn't think there was anything else you could do down. And doing the things that he was doing down at AAA, it's just pretty much wasting time. And also with Boston waiting until this long, they conveniently will find a way to keep him probably through his Super 2 status, so they'll gain an extra year of eligibility. There might have been some chicanery when it came to calling up Anthony. I'm not saying that they wouldn't have called him up sooner had they needed him, but they didn't seem like they were in a super rush, and they had no problems bringing up Christian Campbell and Marcelo Meyer. So, again, maybe I'm tinfoil hatting it too much on that one, but it did seem odd that he was the most successful of the three, and yet was the final one called up. So,
yeah,
I'm not saying that they did it, but it's mighty convenient that it worked out that way if they weren't trying to.
But didn't they get rid of that though?
Well, no, it's not like there's still a vague time frame on there. It's no longer a set date.
I was going to say, but it doesn't mess with the service time, though. I don't think.
Yeah, no. Here's the cutoff date, but it's like they are still able to. It's like they do the thing where it's like if they don't finish within a certain and putting this vague date in this area. Like I've read over the last couple of weeks following between him and Bubba Chandler for Pittsburgh, also not getting the call up when it's obvious that he's ready to make the jump to the majors. There's just been a lot of chatter about, well, if they don't get called up by this certain date, then you look for around mid-June, because that's when there's this funny math about how long guys are able to get accrue enough stats and get enough at bats for the rookie of the year, which then would, throw them off of getting that year status. So it's like now there's not much likelihood that they have to worry about that. And again, there's some type of weird stuff going on with some of these call-ups and some of these teams doing it. And it would not be shocking to see some more of these guys start coming up here in the next week or so. So
I was kind of going through, I was trying to find out, I was kind of looking up stuff on Roman Anthony on X here, and he hit 111 off the bat, line drive right off of Shane Baz, like right in his back.
Oh, in this game right now.
Yeah, I just looked and I was like, yeah, 111 off Roman Anthony's bat. Shane Baz is a lucky man. Like, smoked him. My God, man. Like, it's just.
Did he get on base or was he out?
No, they threw him out.
I mean, as long as Shane Baz is all right, but I mean, I'm worried about.
Yeah, it looked like he ricocheted off his ass and then right to the shortstop who made the play. It was a routine play after that.
That's like, unfortunate.
I know. I mean,
it could have been his first major league hit being a ricochet off of a guy's ass. That'd have been quite the story for the kids. Someday.
I'm watching it. I'm like, here it goes again. Bam. And yeah, it was like right off his ass. Routine grounder, backhanded, thrown over to first, got him. Like, and the umpire's just like,
that won't be the first out.
Oh, I know. Oh, man. Yeah. Why? Because baseball, it's baseball. Baseball. That's what is baseball. Oh, man.
But anyway, we will watch Roman Anthony's career with great interest. I have him on my fantasy team. All the hype that comes with being the number one prospect in baseball, there'll be a lot of chatter. And again, it goes back to what we've been saying, though, with rookies and call-ups over the last couple of years, is that it leaves baseball in a good spot. Like these guys coming up at these young ages, 21, 20, anything really before the days of yesteryear when they wouldn't really hit the majors until 24, 25 at the earliest. Like, it's nice to see these kids getting in there 2 and 3 years early. And I know, that they're more likely to struggle with the way things are structured and they're not being the talent level down in the minor and some of the upper levels of minor like they're used to, but screw that. We want the names, we want the stars, that we hear about. And you know what? They can only face the competition that they can face down in the minor leagues. There's no reason to hold them down there anymore if they're just destroying that. So you might as well take your lumps at the major league level at that point. And for me, I know some people will argue that, you stunt the growth of some of these guys. And that may be true, but the cream will rise to the top on the rest of them. Like the guys that are supposed to succeed and that make the adjustments to succeed and are going to have, superstar or productive careers, we're always going to do that anyway. So
I had heard, I didn't mean to cut you off, Scott, but
no, you're fine.
I was on my way to my in-laws yesterday. I was listening to the Reds game. It was right in the middle of the rain delay they had, and Cowboy was on there talking, and he was talking about basically like the timeline for these guys of just like year one. Okay, you are it's your first year. And, you're kind of like, all right, I know what it takes to, to stay up. So I'm going to work. And then it's like year two. Oh, man, now they are, they're pitching me different. And then you have to adjust. So you spend basically all of year two trying to figure that part out. And then year three, you're constantly making adjustments. And then usually by year 4, year 5, that's when you are like, I guess I want to say like settled and should be able
more of a finished product.
Yes. And I'm like, man, when he put it that way, it was kind of eye-opening. I'm like, well, okay. It makes sense because, you see, for example, like Matt McClain, we haven't seen Matt McClain, since, was it August of last year. And then you're seeing him struggle here this year. Now, obviously that is due in part of an extended absence, but then, still trying to, adjust and everything like that. And it's, same thing with Ellie De La Cruz for God's sakes. It's amazing to think about. And like I said, when he said that, it was eye-opening because I never I never thought of it the way he put it. And I wish I could, find that sound bite because it was perfect and it really explained it how what it takes for these guys to stay up and the ones that do adjust and the ones that are able to I guess finely tune their game and you know get it going based off of what other teams are doing, other pitchers are doing, vice versa and everything like that to stay up in the league. You know, it's easier, I think the saying goes, what is it? The saying's it's easy to get caught up, it's harder to stay up. That's seemingly true and it's amazing. But I think in this case of Roman Anthony, I think with somebody like him, the pressure in looking at it here from the outside, not obviously in the Boston market, but I don't see the pressure on him like I do, for example, like Jack Caglianone. I think there's more pressure on Jack because of what is expected in that Royals lineup. They need more help than what Boston does. Boston's got a bunch of those pieces around him. Now you're just kind of letting Roman Anthony get in there and just hopefully get settled, and then he can go and go about his business and continue to roll on from there. Whereas with Jack, you're hoping he is a huge cog to that offense, and like what we just said at the beginning of the show, to get them rolling into a second half where they're hopefully competing for an AL Central title. So I think pressure-wise, I think it's better for Roman Anthony than it is Jack Caglianone. Both guys, can they handle it? You bet they can. And I can't wait to see what these guys can do here coming up, this summer, because it's like you said, these guys are just more advanced and they're ready to produce earlier. It's awesome. It's great for the game.
Yeah, well, and Major League Baseball kind of they're moving closer towards the other sports in that sense, where these guys are stars, and that's relative saying that for baseball versus some of the other sports, but stars in their respective sports and known because of their national exposure through the College World Series or whatever it may be. And then it's not get drafted and all right, see you later. We'll hear from you in 5-6 years or whatever. And the only thing you get is grainy highlights and newspaper clippings about what happened in AAA the night before. I mean, we get real time. They broadcast these minor league games. A few weeks ago, there was a rain delay. I'm watching Bubba Chandler just because it was on, and it's like, oh, well, here's one of the next big things coming up through the Pirates system. Let's see what he looks like. That wasn't a thing. And you didn't have people clamoring for these guys because they didn't necessarily hear or know about them like we do now. But you see them, you know exactly what they're doing in the minor league system once they start tearing it up. And for a team like Pittsburgh, why not? Why not call up a guy, to get him to the big leagues and have something interesting for them to watch? If they're not going to spend on the minor league or the major league team, you might as well get excited about something if you're a Pirates fan. And in the case of both, teams that like the Red Sox and Royals who have higher expectations, you're like, let's inject this youth and let it be the spark that sends us on our way. Boston,
yeah,
after sweeping the Yankees this weekend, they're right back in the thick of things. And not that we had left them for dead but it was, they started to pull back just a little bit. And the questions were swirling just a little bit, maybe this season was going to be more of a disappointment than everybody had thought. I still don't know that they're going to hit the heights that some people placed on them, but if they can get back in this race and make it interesting again, just like with the Central, that'll be good for things down the stretch. And hell, I hope that Roman Anthony is the reason they catapult to the top of the division.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that that'll be the case because they really need help on the pitching side if you're Boston. But
yeah,
it would be nice if he was the catalyst for this offense to just get in a rhythm and kind of take things off.
What is really cool is baseball is so much more accessible now than what it ever has been. For example, ESPN Plus, you can watch the Northwoods League. Northwoods League is probably the second best college, collegiate summer ball league in the country, just behind the Cape Cod League. That's on ESPN Plus, stuff like that. And then I was talking to a cousin who just signed with the team out of Gastonia, North Carolina. So they're independent ball. Their games are shown on Flow Sports. So stuff like that. I mean, so like I could watch him now, and it's so cool because okay, now for us, like I can tell the boys like, hey, no, hey, Rodney's going to be pitching, today or whatever on Flow. Like, get a subscription for what, a couple months or whatever during the season. We can watch him there. Like I said, you can flip it over and you can on ESPN Plus watch all the college games. You can watch again the Northwoods League for college. It is so readily accessible, and then through MLB you can watch the minor league games. It is, there's no excuse to not know what is going on with some of these guys as they make their way through the college ranks and into the minors, and then all the way ultimately up to the majors. It's like I said, there's so much information out there that we didn't have years ago, and I wish we did. It would have been a heck of a lot better, but this is great, man. It's awesome to be able to see these guys at every level, and we're lucky enough, like I said, that we have that really at our fingertips at all times.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Red Sox Yankees this weekend. Let's talk about another rookie who made noise this weekend. That would be Hunter Dobbins. He stated the rivalry started in pure Ken Griffey Jr. fashion that he would retire before signing with the Yankees. That's right. He would rather retire than sign with the Yankees. He said, quote, "My dad was a diehard Red Sox fan, and that if he said it before, he had said it over the weekend, that if the Yankees were the last team to give him a contract, he would retire." He didn't do great against the Red Sox after, saying those words, but you got to respect the stance of a rookie to say before the start of the first time he's involved in a rivalry like this, just be like, yeah, I'd never play for those guys.
He understood the assignment. He did. He understood.
For all you kids out there, if you're not getting a Roman Anthony jersey, I think Hunter Dobbins is an excellent second choice.
He's a great one. I'm going to order one around on Fanatics right after the show.
And this will endear him to Red Sox fans. I mean, obviously the rivalry there, goes deep, and players that play in the rivalry usually have a long time get seeped in it, but it's odd to have a rookie be so vocal and take a stand like that, but I love it. We are all Hunter Dobbins, or at least I'd like to believe that.
You're hoping at least.
Yeah, I know, but truth is, if the Yankees came calling for like $10, I'd probably sign tomorrow.
Damn well you would.
To sell peanuts during the game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if your boys got that contract from the Yankees, guess what? You are decked out.
No,
in pinstripes. No, you would.
There's a way around it. There's a way around all that. I would silently protest somehow.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You'd sit there and you have your little pennant, just waving your little flag there, and you would. I know you would. And you know what? I'll be sitting right next to you because I got to root them on.
Well, that's fair enough. So we'll both be sitting there looking like a couple of Yankee fan jackasses. I don't think it would take me that long to immediately start barking about how many titles they had by that time. So
request the trade immediately. Day after the call up, I want out of here. I'm done.
I could Manning family, and I'm like, if he gets called up by the Yankees, we're going to request a trade. Just saying.
You would totally. Now that's more realistic.
Another return by another promising young star that had a start to his career 2 years ago, burst on the scene. This time though, a flamethrower on the other side of the ball. Yuri Perez is back tonight, pitching in Pittsburgh after having Tommy John. Electric. We saw him 2 years ago. Plays for the Marlins. He was predicted to be, the next Pedro Martinez, just based on ability and minor league statistics, just off the charts for his rates. Looks like he's struggled a little bit tonight. Got through the first few innings unscathed, but gave up 4 runs in the third. Should shake off a little bit of rust for Yuri Perez, but also 5 strikeouts, and he did strike out the first batter that he faced in that game. Chris, what do you know about Yuri Perez, and how exciting is it to have him back on top of having these other young hitters on the other side?
He's one of the top young arms in the game, and it's exciting to see him back. We always talk about the how we want the youth in this game to really be, out there and showing what it's what's up, and that's what a guy like Yuri Perez can do. And unfortunately, the injuries just got him, and it sucks. But again, somebody like that, if he's got the opportunity to show what he can do, I mean, he's going to, and that's the one thing that Yuri Perez has. And for the love of God, he's a bright spot on this Marlins ball club that really doesn't have much, which is crazy. It's it's every year. It seems like they will. It's like tear down, build it back up, tear down, build it back up. It's seemingly like that every year, like depending on what stage of the rebuild they're in. But Yuri Perez is one of those guys that they can have and hopefully build with moving forward. But overall, again, he's one of the young guys on this team, one of the top young arms in the game. Hopefully, continued health and just continue to show what he can do, because it is electric stuff. And he's a great pitcher, and hopefully he'll stay healthy. That's what this game needs. More of these young arms that just continue to show what they can do.
Yeah, only 22 years old himself, and coming off of Tommy John surgery now means hopefully he'll be healthy for a little while. You never know. These guys now are having 2 and 3 Tommy Johns, and they seem to happen more frequently. He is a flamethrower, so he comes with all the pitfalls, but hard to deny the skills. Fun to watch. He has a lot of learning to do, a lot of growth still in front of him. They have treated him with kid gloves, despite the fact that has already had Tommy John. So hopefully he'll be able to take off from here. But nice to have Yuri Perez back. And we won't be seeing, after we talked about it last week, we won't be seeing Corbin Burnes for at least the next year and change, because he indeed did have to have Tommy John surgery. First year of the deal he signed with Arizona, of that 6-year deal in the offseason. Tough blow if you're the Diamondbacks to have Corbin, who had rounded back into form, was looking more like himself more recently, started off the year kind of struggling. Definitely not the Corbin Burnes they thought they'd be getting to start the season. Last couple of starts out before the injury was looking more like himself, and now he's on the shelf. Last week we were waiting to hear for the second opinion, and they kind of slow played it, but he, I believe, has already had the surgery, on the show for the next year. And the question becomes, because as soon as I heard this, I could hear some people in the Baltimore front office silently patting themselves on the back for not having spent money on one Corbin Burnes. And see, this is why we didn't go out and spend a bunch of money in free agency. This is why, because you can't trust the free agent market, and pitchers are a risky bunch to invest money in. And now Arizona is seemingly left holding the bag. Look at us, we're so smart. No, you get no, because I will not stand for not getting involved in free agency, because the name of the game is pay to play, and no matter how well you put together your team, at some point you're going to have to go outside the organization to bring in players, and this is just how it is. This is the world we live in. This is the way the sport is that goes. You roll the dice. You're forced to, even a Yuri Perez at 22 years of age, drafted by the Marlins. There's no avoiding it. You can try to hide you can do everything you possibly can to protect these dudes' arms. It's the nature of the beast. And so Baltimore gets absolutely no credit for not going out there and attempting to better their club. It's just unfortunate. I mean, we look around the league, and a lot of the pitching signees, I thought about it earlier, Blake Snell has been on the shelf. We often, me personally, don't pay much attention to the Dodgers' mountain of pitching injuries because, well, they signed everybody. So it's likely that if everybody is going to have pitching and arm troubles, that everybody that the Dodgers sign and bring in there are going to be on the shelf at some point. They are a microcosm of the rest of the league when it comes to starting pitching.
Yep.
There's nowhere you can get away from it. I feel like no matter who it is that you have, whether you bring them into your organization on through the draft or through a trade or through free agency, it's a ticking time bomb. And at some point, it's going to go off. The pitcher's arms just are not able to sustain the task at hand for longer than what we see. Some guys can go a decent amount of the career, and then it catches up with them. Other guys have it right at the front of the career, and then they're good for a long time. And then, as I mentioned, other guys are good for a while, then have to have it again. Drew Rasmussen is back from his pitching well this year, but it came back from his second Tommy John surgery.
TJ Antone.
Yeah, I mean,
his third?
Yeah. So, it kind of just is what it is. It sucks because again, it robs the game of star players at a position that's needed, and at a position that there isn't a lot of high level talent to go around. It's to say, starting pitching is a very high price commodity for that reason. So it sucks, but again, teams that don't, you might as well not own a franchise if that's your stance. Is that, well, we're not going to go after guys because they're just going to get hurt eventually, and it's money poured down the drain. Well, you're going to perpetually stay in last place or rebuilding or whatever version of not really competing for a title. That's where you will stay if you decide that you use the example of guys getting hurt, signing in free agency as a reason to not go for it and go out there and pick them up. So very unfortunate for Arizona and Corbin Burnes. But that's the name of the game. Also unfortunate the way that the Braves are playing. I got no words, man, anymore. It's just been a nightmare season, and it's only a third of the way over, but everything that can go wrong has gone wrong, more or less. They have removed Russell Iglesias from the closer role after he continued to just give up runs at a meteoric pace. They then proceeded to lose their seventh straight game after yesterday's game. 2 or 3 of those, they went into the ninth inning with the lead, including a 10-4 loss against the Diamondbacks. They went into the ninth inning up 10-4 on Thursday last week against the Diamondbacks, ended up losing 11-10. The wheels have fallen off. Shit's hit the fan. I was circling the drain here, man. It's just circling the drain. I thought that 24 was rough. And, the injuries nonstop every time you turned around, and there was a way of kind of spinning it and saying, wow, this team was healthy, and they still pulled themselves into the playoffs. And again, able to kind of talk away coming into this year. Well, there's injuries and there's certainly, but it hasn't mattered, man. I don't know what's wrong with this team. I don't know how to fix it in the short term. And the fact that I was getting texts over the weekend from various reporters discussing the status of whether or not the Braves will be sellers in a couple of weeks at the deadlines just made me want to cry all the tears. That's not how it's supposed to be this year, man. They had the best odds in the World Series behind the Dodgers. What is going on?
I feel for you. I do.
All I can do is bang my head up against the wall every night and tune in and see what kind of new and fun, interesting ways they're going to lose. But I got nothing at this point. So I think that at the end of the year, it looks like Brian Snitker, this was his last year anyway. He got talked out of retirement, might have walked away before the start of this year, but it's clear that they need new blood. I can't talk about these guys all damn season. Not until they do anything of note. Even with Acuna coming back, it's just been sad city down in Atlanta. So
We don't have to talk about it. It's okay.
It's all good. Hey, but CES is back for the Reds.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
CES is back, and he's another exciting young player. Came out hitting bombs this weekend, coming back off of being injured, and he started the season rough. So it was good to see him come back and do what he was once the talk of the town in the minor leagues. I remember just 2 years ago, he was down in AAA, beating down the door, hitting home runs every day, seemingly. Then got his call, struggled a bit at the beginning, and then got injured. This year, again, started off slowly, got hurt, came back with a vengeance this weekend, though. I like it. Like to see it.
Yeah. Batting .538 this weekend, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. Let's see, 1.308 slugging, 1.879 OPS against the Diamondbacks. Count me in. I'll take that all day, every day. CES, there's so much potential for him. If he stays healthy, there is a cornerstone in your infield there at first base. The guy can pick it, and he can obviously hit, and he hits it hard. He hits it violent. That's what CES brings you. So hopefully the injuries, are brushed aside with him, because he's one that this Reds ball club need. I mean, they really need him. At this point, they need all the help they can get. But a return like that is exactly what you want to see. Helps take the pressure off of, not having Ellie in the lineup over the weekend due to the loss of his sister. So Ellie was out. This kind of helps, alleviate that stress there from the rest of the players in terms of having to cover what Ellie can do. And he went above and beyond. Like I said, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, had a walk-off double. I mean, can't ask for much more than that. So welcome back, CES. Hopefully this is what we get to see the rest of this season. Hopefully it just continues to stay hot.
Was kind of out of it, I'm not gonna lie, just crying in my Cheerios all weekend about the Braves, and really kind of lost focus about the big picture of the league. But how have the Reds looked to you overall, though, the last week or so? I mean, they're playing okay. I mean, I see the score, but it's like I know that Ellie was out for the passing of his sister, and so that kind of threw things off for a couple of days. But how have they looked overall?
They're inconsistent as hell, and that's the frustrating part. Is the hard part with this team is I've heard so many people crapping on Nick Krall. His hands are tied. This is an ownership issue, not a front office issue for the Cincinnati Reds. Now, Nick Krall hasn't done a phenomenal job by any means. He's not free of any criticism, but he's also, he can only do what's allowed of him by ownership, and it hasn't been much. So I'm really curious as to what was brought up to Terry Francona to have him come out of retirement to coach, having to put in Connor Joe and guys like that. Like, what the hell? I mean, I'm sorry. I can't imagine Tito was sprinting out of retirement to put in Connor Joe 5th or 6th in his lineup. I can't imagine that was the case. That's the annoying part of it all. And I just think that you all right?
Because I come into this year and I thought Tito's going to be the difference. He's going to be the one that and you're right, man. They've really handcuffed. They really handcuffed him with this roster.
Dude, it's like I know, and that's
you're right though. There's no way that this is what he signed up for. Is what it's
bingo. And that's you look at the euphoria we had 2 years ago, the 2023 team.
Don't disrespect the name of Connor Joe.
That's a former Colorado Rocky, man. I like Connor Joe. The dude's just not a starting outfielder for the city. Like, come on, man. Like,
he's not a middle of the order bat.
No, he's not your guy that you're putting behind Ellie to give him protection in the lineup. Not happening. But here we are. Welcome to the 2025 Cincinnati Reds. But that's the frustrating part of it, though. But then they just traded Austin Wins for cash. Like, what the hell are we doing? So there goes a nice depth piece. So that's the criticism that he's not free of, because what are you doing? Now the deal where they sent Alexis Diaz to the Dodgers, perfectly fine. That is a deal that
That was a solid deal.
yes, I'm
Turn the page on
1,000%
that.
okay with. Yeah, because I mean, at this point, Frank kind of had no idea what to do with Diaz. I mean, what are you going to do with him? You didn't know you couldn't pitch him anywhere because he was walking dudes. So there goes, he can't close. So what are you doing? At this point, you ship him out, change his scenery, and then, well, we know what's going to happen is he's going to freaking close down the World Series for him because why not? But again, it's a solid move. But when your GM is handcuffed like Nick Kroll is, I'm not going to completely crap all over him because I think overall he has done a pretty solid job. I mean, he's brought in guys like, oh geez, CES was one of the targets that he brought in the I think I want to say it was the Tyler Malley trade, I believe, or Sonny Gray, one of the two.
I was going to say, they did get him from Minnesota. I can't remember.
Yeah. I want to say it might have been the Sonny Gray deal. I could be wrong on that. But he's brought in like guys like Noel V. Marte. And they have done a good job of drafting players. I mean, Chase Burnes, here I am. I'm the one.
He's knocking on the door. He got called up to AAA.
Exactly. So here we go. Like, I'm crapping on the Reds. I was pissed that they didn't take Caglione. And I mean, I like Chase Burnes, but I mean, let's be honest. I wanted my cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
you can't do that, unfortunately. But I was like, well, I want Cags, but then I like Chase Burnes too, but I wanted Cags more. But look at Chase Burnes, and I have seen and I've read it numerous times. Like, and I think I said on the show last week or last show or the show before that they're projecting that some scouts have said that Chase Burnes is going to be better than Paul Skeens.
Yeah, well, I heard that today.
If that happens, then then by God, then count me in. And he's already made it up to AAA. Hell, you could see Chase Burnes depending on what happens
in the next month.
Exactly. Depending on what's going on with this team. I mean, who knows? If this team can't get out of their own way, you could see guys like Brady Singer be dealt. You could see Nick Martinez being dealt. So that allows for a guy like, Chase Burnes to be thrust into the rotation. So again, this team this year is so frustrating. As exciting as they are, I mean, here they are. They go out and sweep the Diamondbacks, and now I want to say last I saw they were 6-4
against Cleveland.
Yeah. So I'm like, what are we doing? Like, again, just the model of inconsistency is the Cincinnati Reds of 2025, a team that I thought was going to win the division, compete for the division at least. You just shake your head because it's they go out there and they score 10 runs one game, and then they go and lose a 1-0 game the day before, and or the day after, and it's these pitchers, man. I'm telling you what, when they pitch great, they don't get the run support. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and a lot of these games for this team, that's frustrating as hell. But if they can get these pieces rolling here, and because they've got the pitching, if the offense can get it going, then there's potential for a fun run in the second half of the season. And I mean, hopefully they've got the pieces in the minors to go out and acquire a big bat to bring in, and that way you don't have to have Connor Joe out there as your cleanup hitter. Seemingly, you could have a bat that's worth something, in the middle of that lineup. So, it's things like that. But overall, very frustrating. Hopefully they get it going, and they just – I just want to be happy, man. That's what it comes down to because, I mean –
don't we all? Like, seriously, I just wanted to have a fun baseball season, and this has turned into a nightmare.
Dude, being a Cincinnati sports fan sucks. It's brutal. It is, man. What the hell? It is what it is. I'm just have fun with it, I guess,
Well, let's give you something to leave the show on a high note and make you happy. Let's switch to college baseball. Give us a recap and tell us where we are as things continue to push towards the finale of the college baseball season. I know that'll make you happy, man.
Yeah, that will. Let me pull up the the matchups here. Well, of course, I just closed out of it because why not? But we have The College World Series is set to begin. Let me pull up the matchups here again. Opening weekend is Friday. Right now, currently, we have the last win or go home game, and that is Murray State, who is looking to be only the fourth 4 seed to make Omaha. So right now, they're currently down 3-2 in the top of the 7th to Duke. But the Super Regionals were nothing short of amazing. Arizona took care of the 5th-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels in a 3-game series, and that where North Carolina in Game 1 came out there and absolutely kicked the crap out of Arizona, 18-2, and then the Wildcats basically performed the reverse sweep and take care of business. I mean, just incredible drama in that series. Coastal Carolina, the Chants here, they go on the road and face, and I had talked about them in the regional aspect of it, where I thought they got screwed in their draw. We're having to take on East Carolina, Florida, as the 2 big teams in the Conway Regional. They were a team that had won 40-plus games and ended up being dealt or almost 50 games and being dealt the 13 overall seeds, which means that had they, won the regional, they would most likely have to travel for the Super Regional. And Coastal did that. They went on the road to Auburn to take on the Auburn Tigers, and what did they do? Took care of business in 2 games. They were the first team to punch their ticket to Omaha. Coastal Carolina's got just a phenomenal offense with probably the best pitching staff in the country. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. It's Coastal's first appearance since their 2016 national championship that they had, claiming it for the mid-major. So if you're a mid-major fan, Coastal took care of you. So that's one thing to watch out for is Coastal, and they're going to take on Arizona in Game 1. That's at 1:00 or 2:00 Eastern on Friday. All these games, the opening games, are on ESPN. So those are definitely ones to check out there. Louisville took care of the Miami Hurricanes in an all ACC battle. That was a 3-game series as well, with Louisville winning Game 1, losing Game 2, and then battling back and taking care of business at home in Game 3. They take on Oregon State. Oregon State, coming into the season, was one of the top teams. Oh, we got a tie ball game now. Murray State, Jonathan Hogart just hit a 413-foot bomb to tie it up. So on ESPN, we have a
live tie game.
Yes, I love it. He just turned on it and sent it into the Durham Knight. I'll take that all day long. There we go. I love it. Anytime you get a 4 seed, that's the beauty of this tournament here. And before I touch on the other matchups, I did hear something. I want to say it was Mike Farron today was saying this is the first time in I can't remember how long. I want to say like 50-something years maybe, that we do not have one repeat team from last year in this year's College World Series.
No
All
kidding.
8 are going to be brand new.
That's awesome.
Exactly, which is what you want. I mean, that's the great part about this game. Going into it, we saw the number 1 seed get knocked out. We saw the number 2 overall seed get knocked out in their own regional. So you see stuff like that, and then, like I said, here you go. You got Oregon State as a team in Corvallis that they're no longer in the Pac-10 or Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever you want to call it. Here they are, and it is an independent team, and they're absolutely loaded. And they go and they take care of Florida State, who has to travel literally. I mean, you want to talk about corner to corner from Tallahassee all the way to Corvallis. I mean, that's across the country and up. I mean, you're going straight diagonal. And they took care of business in a winner-take-all game last night, and just incredible stuff. And that's what these Super Regionals have been nothing short of fantastic. And Oregon State is another team to watch out for. And it's pretty funny because I'm looking at all the teams here. The Pac-12 dissolves, and now 3 former Pac-12 teams are going to be representing, their respective conferences or independents in the College World Series, with the third being UCLA, who took care of a tough mid-major in University of Texas San Antonio. The Roadrunners gave all they could, but it just wasn't enough, and UCLA took care of business behind Rock Chalowski, who is get to know that name. He's there's a good chance he could win the Golden Spikes Award this year. But Rock Chalowski is going to be a first-round pick, so there's a good chance he's going to help out.
It's a strong name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Clutch name, too. Clutch name. But UCLA back in business again. They head out there, and they take on the winner of this Duke and Murray State game. And this Duke and Murray State series has been great. Murray State kind of jumped on them early in game one, but then Duke flew back and won game one, only to get housed 19-9 last night. And then now here we are, like I said, 3-3 in the top of the seventh. Murray State, 2 outs. They got a man on first. So, like I said, Murray State here looking to become the 4 seed to make Omaha. And then wrapping it up here with just an absolutely juicy matchup in the final opening game, LSU and Arkansas. And LSU, they battled West Virginia. LSU is obviously, we saw them win the national championship just a couple years ago with Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, notably. LSU, again, they're tough at Alex Box Stadium. They flat out get it done, and they did. They took care of, like I said, West Virginia to punch their ticket to Omaha, where they faced fellow SEC team Arkansas, and that was Arkansas's the number 3 overall seed, and they faced Tennessee in what was a dream super regional, but it turned out to be anything but, as Arkansas just flat out, pedal to the metal, and they took care of the defending national champions. Tennessee just didn't have an answer.
Down your boy.
What's that?
They took down your boy, your coach there, Tennessee.
Oh yeah, Tony Vitelli. Yeah, he and dude, they pounded Liam Doyle, who there's a good chance he's going to be one of the top picks in the country. Liam Doyle, lefty, just flamethrower. The dude is out of his mind as well. If you get a chance, check out his. He comes in the game 7 of the Knoxville Regional against Wake Forest, and he's on the mound, and he's their Friday night starter. So he got the game 1 start, and he basically told Tony Vitelli, like, I'm going in to pitch, like I'm pitching in this final game. There's nothing you can do. I'm going to do it. And dude throws 100+ miles an hour, but he's on the mound, and Wake takes an offensive timeout. Guy walks over to third base coach for a little powwow, and Liam Doyle is like screaming, like pointing at at their offensive huddle. He's nuts. He gets up there, pumps a fastball by him at 100 miles an hour, jogs off the mound, jacked as all hell, and walks straight into the clubhouse. It's hysterical. Again, Liam Doyle's nuts, but Arkansas they flat out took care of Liam Doyle, and got to him early. And Arkansas rolled to a 2-0 series sweep in this one. Stunning, because with what Tennessee has, you certainly did not expect to see them go down 2-0 to Arkansas. Like I said, I would not have expected that. But so again, the opening matchups, Coastal and Arizona, a rematch of that 2016 final. Again, watch out for Coastal Carolina, but Arizona was a team that, as a North Carolina fan as well, I did not want to see Arizona in the Chapel Hill regional, super regional, and that's why, because it didn't matter as good as North Carolina's pitching staff was, those Arizona bats they flat out, they did work, and dispatching of a team that many thought going into the tournament, North Carolina was a favorite to win the national title. Arizona had seemingly no problem after game 1, and like I said, it was impressive stuff. Louisville, Oregon State in the second game of the Friday opener, and then Duke Murray State or Duke or Murray State to take on UCLA in the opening game on Saturday, to be followed in the nightcap at 7:00 by LSU and Arkansas. Man, this is going to be just a fantastic College World Series again. First time in forever that we have not had a repeat team in this College World Series. So the parity is there. There's so much talent. Get to know some of these guys, because you're going to be seeing them in the draft in July, and then ultimately, most likely coming up possibly at the end of this season. And if not, you're going to see their names early next season and at this time next year for your respective ball clubs, because there's some dudes that are going to be knocking on the door to be playing Major League Baseball next season. So it's set up to be a fun College World Series. Obviously, I've got my rooting interest in the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, team that the boys from Myrtle Beach, man, Conway, South Carolina. Hopefully, Teal Nation shows out. But again, starts Friday, 2:00 Eastern. Make sure you check it out on the ESPN Family Networks, man. There's nothing better than Omaha, Charles Schwab Field. It plays big, so it should be a fun, open College World Series. Like I said, with solid pitching and, like I said, a big field. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So make sure you check it out.
Chris is happy, y'all.
Oh, Jack! Man, I'm spent, man.
I was like, I'm gonna let him go.
I was hyped up, man.
A roll. And after your Connor Joe Reds ran, I wanted you to go out on that.
Yeah. Oh, side note, we are not going to have a show on Monday.
We will not. We have a game. We've got to coach the kiddies, so we'll miss.
Yeah, we
Monday.
do.
But following week, look for us back here. And thank you for joining us here on Backwards K.
Yes.
You can find us where you find all your favorite podcasts. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on anywhere. We're here live when we do the show on YouTube. Wherever you will find your podcast, we will be there. But we are also, most importantly, on the Impact Sports Cincinnati Podcast Network, as well as the Craft Brewed Sports Podcast Network. We appreciate you guys joining us. This has been Backwards K. For Chris, I am Scott. Enjoy baseball, everybody. We'll catch you next time.